Ooh, the sprinkler feels good. Nice and cold.
I don't know, this one's warm. Tastes terrible.
Well, hello, kiddies. This is your friendly neighborhood watchman, here to talk to you about actor Anthony Mackie, who of course had played the Falcon in Disney's The MCU and Captain America, Brave New World. So without further ado, let's jump into this article from Bounding Into Comics with the byline by our old pal Spencer Buckley.
Eyes rolling.
With the title, Captain America, Brave New World star Anthony Mackie says Star Spangled Avenger, quote, represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term America should be one of those representations, unquote.
What?
Well, he got one thing right. He doesn't think Captain America doesn't represent America. What the convoluted logic is that?
Daddy, chill.
In kicking off the Captain America Brave New World press tour with a bit of controversy, star Anthony Mackie believes that while a titular Marvel hero represents a lot of different things, he should not stand for the idea of, gasp, America itself. Fucking moron. The next actor to wield the shield offered his opinion regarding the thematic core of the Star-Spangled Avengers character by speaking to attendees of a Brave New World press event as hosted at the Hotel della Ville in Rome, Italy on January 27. Isn't that nice? Get to spew some delusional bullshit while on vacation in Italy. These woke actors have it rough, let me tell you.
Whatever.
Per a video of his response shared to Instagram by Italian entertainment news website The Redhead's Diaries, ostensibly asked as to what the Flag Cat hero represents to him. The actor opined, quote, for me, Captain America represents a lot of different things, a paycheck being first and foremost.
You smartass.
And I don't think the term, America should be one of those representations. It's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor, dignity, and integrity, he explained. Someone who is trustworthy and dependable, end quote. Unfortunately, for those curious to his thinking, rather than expounding on his critique, Mackie then completely changed gears to offer up a non sequitur reflection about how his upcoming appearance as the second MCU Captain America, quote, was kind of like an aspect of a dream coming true. All of us as actors, I believe, want to get back to that day before someone told you no, said the actor.
No!
His attention now fully diverted from the initial question. When you look out your door and you see a 5-year-old kid with a stick and he's slaying dragons to save the princess in the tower, that kid really believes there's dragons out there. That stick is really a sword and he's really trying to save that princess. And then one day somebody told them, no, there's no dragons, that's not a sword, and that princess is not here. And all of his little dreams were dashed. So I think as an actor, our job is to get back to the day when we see the dragon, to slay the dragon, to save the princess. And that's kind of what that movie was to me.
Are you yawning?
This is not the first time that Mackie has criticized the America aspect of Sam Wilson's new eponymous mantle. Recalling his time filming Falcon and the Winter Soldier during a 1921 interview with Variety's Adam B. Vary, Mackie asserted, I've worked so long in this business, and I've done so many things that I felt were not appreciated or overlooked, or things that were not considered to be worthy of promotion. And this is like my first promotion. The idea of being Captain America was something that I never fathomed. Or because it was so far-fetched, he said, I wanted to be in a comic book movie so I could be the guy in Spider-Man that goes, it's Spider-Man. That was as far as my ambition could take me in that universe. Yeah, you ain't the only one that don't believe you should be Captain America.
You got that right.
The fear of representing a country who doesn't represent you, was something that's not only unfathomable, but hard to overcome. Mackie continued. Here we go with the victimhood 101.
How dare you?
My dad always used to say greatness is as far as you can see it. There are limitations that we place on ourselves because of our surroundings. And you know, I did that to myself. And that's definitely what Sam Wilson goes through. Yeah, well, I'm not the only one. I believe that Bucky should have been, that is, the Winter Soldier should have been the next Captain America. Now, in the comic books, originally Bucky, he was just a normal kid, the sidekick like Robin for Batman. They were there for the kids of the day to have someone to have a connection to. When you're a kid, you can see yourself as another kid, helping out your favorite superhero who's an adult. But he had no superpowers. So if Captain America died back then, that would have been the end. But later on, he's reimagined as Winter Soldier. He has his arm and trained secret agent and deadly assassin by the Soviets, so he could take on the mantle of Captain America. The Falcon, on the other hand, compared to the comics, I feel the MCU version is much better as far as the costume or technological advances he has compared to the original costume he had on, which just had these wings on his arms, kind of like the gliding jumpsuits these guys parachute in. If someone were to really jump out in that costume, they'll just fall to their death. They're not flying anywhere. Whereas in MCU, it's kind of geared toward the Iron Man technology. We're being able to fly. So, point being, his powers, for lack of a better word, was much better on film than in the comic book when it comes to a more realistic approach. To get my meaning. So Falcon was pretty cool as he was. Or he could have been transformed into another superhero if he disliked it that much. Kind of how Robin, the original Robin, Dick Grayson, became Nightwing. But as far as Bucky or Wilson, that is Winter Soldier or Falcon, becoming Captain America, I prefer the original Steve Rogers as Cap. Anyone else, you want USA Agent? Take up the mantle of USA Agent. Or one of these other clones, these copycats. Because Bucky never got the super soldier serum. Only Steve Rogers, not Wilson/Falcon. Just Steve Rogers, as originally created. I'm sure they retcon the hell out of it, as they do anything else nowadays. But I haven't read those comics. Neither am I interested in reading them. Since Marvel and DC went totally down the drain.
Stay on target.
It should be noted that despite Mackie's apparent implication that Captain America is an enforcer or defender of a given political administration or ideology, the original Marvel comics have long held that their hero, or at least Steve Rogers' incarnation of him, instead stands for the basic ideals of freedom that exist at the base of America's identity. For example, when seeking answers from the higher-ups in the American military as to the identity of the murderous psychopath known as Nuke in the Frank Miller penned Daredevil Volume 1, number 233, the top brasses attempt to dissuade him digging any further by praising his commitment and loyalty, only for Rogers to firmly fire back, "I'm loyal to nothing, General, except a dream," before continuing on in his investigation. Likewise, in What If, Volume 1, number 44, writer Peter Gittes explores an alternate timeline where Captain America is revived, not in the 1960s, but the 80s. Upon doing so, discovering that the man currently wearing his mantle, William Burnside, was using it to help install an oppressive far-right regime across the United States. Of course, far-right, never far-left, because that's a liberal for you.
You can say that again.
Eventually bringing Burnside's reign of terror to an end with the help of Spider-Man and members of the Black Panthers during a public political rally. Rogers convinced the confused public of his identity by explaining the true meaning of the shield. And you can read all that in this article I will provide a link for, so as to shorten this video. What will many people's attention span, being what it is nowadays?
He ain't lying.
So, as we are wont to do when we have the opportunity, we'll go over a few readers' mail. From Otisburg, good screen name. Anthony Mackie is going to play Captain America, but doesn't want to represent America.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Wasn't this the same guy who for years anguished about not wanting to do a Falcon movie?
Oh, is that how you want to play it? Yup.
So instead of being Falcon, he was finally given the Captain America title, which he wanted all along. No matter what crock he says. And immediately he wants to cast away what makes Captain America Captain America. It should have gone to Bucky.
You got that right.
Exactly what I said. Next from Andrew Fantome, we have, it seemed Anthony realized that the film was doomed and decided to fully enter the virtue signaling mode since he had nothing to lose.
You ain't lying.
These actors always virtue signaling. Quite enough, Saya says. Well, that's just the main problem. These actors know nothing about a character that's been around more than 80 years. Yep, I quite agree. Most of these actors weren't comic book readers and know nothing about the characters they attempt to portray. Next up is the ubiquitous Bunny with a Keyboard. So, we're all in agreement that he shouldn't represent America then.
Yup.
M&H says, and this is why I will never call him Captain America. He is the Falcon. Anyone but Steve Rogers is a poor imitation of the real thing. You get no argument from me.
Spitting facts. It could change your life.
Anthony Mackie should be fired for this comment, and Brave New World should get the same treatment as Batgirl. Cancelled and never released for the tax write-off.
Oh, that's cold.
Lucky Day opines, cheap publicity via shock value confirmed. The Falcon can never be Captain America. Ideas that don't work get retconned in comics. At best, this is a sideshow. Certainly, characters need to evolve. The idea that Steve Rogers should find himself lost in a more complicated world was an idea that Stan Lee both loved and actually didn't take credit for once. That was an idea that made sense given the context, and it tied Marvel's characters back to the Golden Age without needing the multiverse to explain it. And one day, the original, patriotic American superhero will be back. His name is the Shield. One day, he may team up with Minuteman and Captain Battle to follow. Next up, we have Hot Tomato, who says, I mean, America is literally in the name. Conclusively proves that most actors should only speak the words other people write for them. Boy, you dropped the truth bomb right there. A guest opines, if he doesn't like the word America in his name, maybe he should have stayed playing the Falcon. Yeah, this is true. Again, I can't disagree with these comments. Eric Baumgartner says, I'm looking forward to not seeing his movie. Yeah, you and me both. Ali Trapuzzi says, no problem, I was never going to watch this anyway. Meh says, well, Captain represents a lot of different things, doesn't have quite the same ring to it. Yeah, that's a mouthful in comparison to just plain old Captain America. Mr. 0303 says, which is why he's not fit to be Captain America. Bold on America. SJW's Akanza says, I wasn't going to see this movie in the first place, but now I'm definitely not going to see the movie. Thanks for saving me money. Jew Post, agreed, call him Falcon and move the MCU to Canada, our 51st state.
Daddy, chill.
Harry Knuckles says, quote, Captain America shouldn't represent America, end quote.
Say what now?
Actually, it sounds like Mackie shouldn't be representing Captain America. Bingo.
Bingo!
Since it appears that he is trying to keep people out of theaters with this ridiculous take on the character.
Damn right.
Mark comment, facepalm, here we go again. Pass, hard pass. I know what you mean, Mark. NX1700 says, the name is Captain America. Bird brain. Get it? Falcon, bird brain? Anyway, stop.
You need to stop.
And on it goes. And I gotta cut this video short. So, last but not least, we'll end it with Zarius. I was almost thinking this is going to suck. But I'm curious, and there's nothing out to watch. But now they can go pound sand and take that shield out of his hands.
He ain't lying.
Amen, baby. Amen. So with that, folks, we will end this video. And if you agree with the article or the comments made by the readers and myself, then please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Help this channel out.
Take my money, bitches. Take it off.
And hit that notification bell so that you'll always be forewarned for whenever I'm about ready to
Drop
another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.